the Sigma 30mm f1.4, the lens flares, the size, and the bokeh. You're gonna love this lens. So this is the Sigma DC-DN range of Sigma lenses for crop sensor cameras. Now this is the 30mm 1.4 as I mentioned, and you can actually get all three of these. There's a 16, a 30mm, and a 56mm, all 1.4, all made for crop sensors. Now this is specifically for the Micro Four Thirds system, in other words GH5, Blackmagic, etc. However, it does also come for the Sony E mount as well as the Canon EFM mount. So if you have one of those systems, they make a lens like this just for you. Now what I'm going to tell you in this video applies both to photo and video. So if you use these lenses for photo or video, pretty much the same principle. I'm also going to show you a direct comparison between this Sigma as well as the Lumix 25mm 1.7. Now if you don't know, the Lumix 25mm 1.7 is one of the most affordable lenses for the Micro Four Thirds system. But what I'm going to show you is going to blow your mind. And for those of you that are going to watch the whole video, I've got some really nice cinematic goodness just for you. Now I've been shooting with the Lumix 25mm 1.7 for years. It's an affordable lens and it produces what I thought was a decent picture quality. That is until I bought the Sigma 16mm 1.4 and quickly realized the bokeh on this isn't right, and that's why I bought the 30mm. So spec wise, the Sigma is a 30mm with a maximum aperture of f1.4 to f16. So it lets a whole lot of light in. It gives you a 60mm full frame focal length with a f2.8 looking aperture. There's no IBIS. It weighs in at 265 grams. It has 9 rounded blades, which is what probably gives it the soft bokeh you're going to see. In comparison, the Lumix is a 25mm with a maximum aperture of f1.7 to f22. So it doesn't let as much light in, but it gives you the 50mm full frame equivalent with a f3.4 depth of field. Also, no IBIS, 125 grams, and it has 7 rounded blades as opposed to the soft 9. Now for this comparison, I've done no color grading whatsoever to either of these shots, just so I can give you a true color representation if there is any color difference as well. Now this is the Sigma at f1.4 at its maximum aperture. Now take a look at the bokeh, the softness. At f1.4, this lens is amazing sharp. You don't have to step it down, it's just sharp all the way through. Now this is the Lumix at the same distance from the subject at its maximum aperture of f1.7. Now yes, it is a 25mm crop, so it's a fraction wider than the 30mm. However, I'm going to give you a same crop comparison just now so you can do a more bokeh comparison. And just for technical sake, I wanted to put them both at f1.8 so you can see a true comparison at f1.8 in terms of sharpness. So this is the Sigma at f1.8. And this is the Lumix at f1.8. The Sigma just gets sharper and sharper the further you stop it down, and there's truly no comparison to the quality of the image that the Lumix puts out. Now, as I said, distance plays a vital role in terms of bokeh. The closer you move to a subject, the more bokeh you get in the background at that specific aperture. If you've ever played with a macro lens, you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. So due to the fact that these two lenses have a different focal length, I'm going to film Michelle in the first image at f1.4, and this is what it looks like. I'm probably standing about 3 meters away from her with a 30mm focal length. Now to get the exact same shot, I had to obviously move in closer with the 25mm to get the same crop. This would give you a true bokeh comparison, even though the one's at f1.4 and the other is at f1.7. You can clearly see the difference between these two. Even the bokeh just changes. The Lumix has a very odd looking bokeh. It's almost as if there's too much going on. Now I'll give you a 200% crop so you can have a look. And here is a side-by-side at a 300% crop. Now the 300% crop is crazy, I understand, but this is just to give you a better comparison before the YouTube compression takes over, and perhaps if you're not watching this on a large screen. Now take a look at the bokeh balls. The Lumix is a little bit too busy due to the 7 blades, and the Sigma is just super soft. Now I understand that the one is at f1.4 and the one at f1.7, but even when I showed you them both at f1.8, you get the same difference in bokeh. The Sigma just gives you a really nice, soft looking bokeh. There's something about these Sigma DC-DN contemporary lenses, and they are amazing. Now the color is very similar between these two lenses. The Lumix may be a little bit warmer, but it's not really noticeable. But what I do notice is that the skin tones on the Sigma just look amazing. It's kind of got that Canon kind of feel. The skin tones look more natural using this, where this somehow gives it an oversaturated look in the shadows. I don't know how to explain it, but I've filmed with them both enough to kind of see it. Autofocus. Now, I'm not going to do an autofocus side-by-side comparison test for you, because if you are into video, you probably don't use autofocus like me. I generally use tap to focus, and then I get my shot and I film from there. If I do need to actually use manual focus, both these lenses are focused by wire. However, when you're talking about autofocus, it performs no different to a standard Lumix lens. But what I can tell you is this: if you are doing photography or you are doing tap to focus in video and you're using both of these lenses, especially in low light, the Sigma grabs focus a lot quicker than the Lumix. The Lumix tends to hunt a little bit and sometimes doesn't grab it right. However, the Sigma is pretty much spot on every time. As I said, both are focused by wire, and I do understand that if you are a filmmaker and you want a manual focus ring, this is probably not the lens for you. However, I find that the focus by wire for the 1 or 2 shots that I may need it in a real life paid job is more than sufficient. And really, focus by wire is not as hard as everyone makes it out to be. It's still pretty simple, especially when you use focus peaking. Chromatic aberration. Both of these lenses do suffer a little bit of chromatic aberration, as do a lot of f1.4 lenses. However, the Sigma is nowhere near as bad as the Lumix. This is a shot of the Sigma straight out of camera with no color grading or removal of the pink kind of purpley hue that you generally get. Pricing. Well, the Lumix is probably the cheapest Micro Four Thirds lens you can buy in the world. It's priced at $248 normally, and often you'll get it on special for $147. The Sigma, however, is priced at $339. That's the normal price. However, lately you do find them on special for $289. Now, if you had to ask me between the two, even both on special or not on special, the extra 100 odd bucks that you're going to save is not worth getting the Lumix as opposed to the Sigma. It outperforms it by so much that this should be a $400 to $600 lens due to the quality that you get out of it. Build quality. Now the Lumix is truly a piece of plastic. It's a very light lens and it just feels pretty cheap. But the Sigma, it has that cold metal feel. And the focus ring, the way it just moves, feels unbelievable. It truly is a work of art. The way it's machined generally feels like an Apple product, if I could say that. Now, if you made it this far, I do have something special for you. 2 things. Number 1, I do have all 3 of these lenses. I recently just picked up the 56mm 1.4, which is a beast. I have already done a 16mm review. I'll link it in the description below so you can watch it after you finish this video. And I'll soon be doing a 56mm versus 42.5, as well as a comparison of all 3 of these to kind of show you the different focal lengths, the 1.4, the bokehs that you get, and all the good stuff. So now I get to show you that cinematic B-roll. All these shots I have taken on the 30mm f1.4 with my wife and my child. As you know, Michelle is pregnant. So this is going to be a little bit of a kind of family 30mm 1.4, what you can do if it's a wedding, if it's a couple shoot, if it's a client job. Just enjoy it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Wherever you are in the world, have a good day, good evening, good night. Goodbye.
It's not the mighty Mississippi, not the sunshine in LA. It's not a snow-capped Rocky Mountain on a warm summer day. It's not the glow of a full moon shining in the night. There's nothing grand about a canyon that holds a candle to your sight. The most beauty that I've seen is you. Is you.